So Tim, how's everything at AscendTMS? What's been going on?
Going fantastic. I mean, I love this show. It's kind of a high-end show. The people you meet, they're all decision makers. So sometimes you go to a show and it's people, looking for freebies, right?
Yeah.
At this show, the people that come by, they really are looking for a solution. They're trying to expand an existing solution. They're growing. If they're not growing, and they're kind of divesting, they're looking to try and figure out technology solutions for that.
Sure.
So yeah, so overall, it's one of my favorite shows in the trucking industry as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is AscendTMS working on at the moment? Are you changing anything up?
We're changing up things all the time. So we had a press release just yesterday. Our good partners at UShip over here. Hey UShip, wave UShip. Sorry. Yeah. So we're doing LTL. We announced yesterday that Ascend does ugly freight. What does that mean? A typical broker or carrier, once a week or so, will get asked to move something really weird, that doesn't conform to a typical truckload. So somebody will call them up and say, hey, Mr. Broker, can you move a fairground ride, or can you move a 50-foot neon sign for me, or whatever it is, a World War II helicopter. So that's what those guys do at UShip. And so we built an interface to allow, we call it the ugly freight button. So if you've got ugly freight, you press the button and they will handle that.
That's awesome.
Today we did a press release with carrier lists. So people looking for capacity, they've got thousands of carriers to choose from with something that's trademarked called lane certainty, where they look at all the lanes, they know who travels, and they give you a list of people to start calling because they know that they travel that lane for your load.
Yeah.
So we're always working on new stuff because that's what our customers demand. They're always looking for the latest and the greatest. And we add it for them. When we add it, every one of our customers gets it. We have over 43,300 customers today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so when we flip that button on, they all get the new goodies every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear.
Thanks, man, I appreciate that. We're working hard. And I love to hear that. People come by all the time. We just had a national name that you would know, that you see every day. They came by just moments ago, just before you got here, and they said that they have a managed services division. So they basically do managed services for hundreds of companies, and their current systems doesn't really support it very well.
Yeah.
Would our system allow that? And of course it will, because with Ascend, you can handle 30 different shippers. In one account, you give access to that shipper to Ascend, and you work with them in concert to be able to move freight, and the customer will have their logo on it, and it makes me feel really good when somebody comes by and says, hey, we're using your solution to do these things, and I really like that. It just shows that we listen to our customer, and our customer comes back and says thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you came up with the name AscendTMS, and he did.
Yeah.
And if Tim, you could tell us the story behind the name.
Well, it's not very complicated, so when people try to come up with a company name, there's two options, right? There's the word that doesn't mean anything, right? That's often people can't remember it because it doesn't actually exist. And then the other is to have some kind of phrase or something that people do recognize, but often it's too long. So I chose Ascend, and it's really simple. It starts with A, and so Aardvark, is obviously always at the top, but Aardvark TMS didn't sound like it would go very far. Aardvarks aren't the most lovable animals, so Ascend seemed good. It starts with A, so I knew that whenever there was a bunch of TMSs listed, we'd be almost always at the top. And also, Ascend is to rise higher, right? Just like our picture here is the man on the mountain is ascending the mountaintop. So Ascend is what I want people to do with their business. I want them to use Ascend to be able to grow their business and to ascend to the top. That's why it's called Ascend. And then the colors, we chose the colors because they stand out great on a white background. So if you look at some of the best logos in the world, they often are bright colors on a relatively blank background. So the bright orange and the bright blue, they look good together. And on any white background, which is any website, usually it's a white background that it's on, it always stands out.
Yeah, sure.
That's why. Yeah. It's not exactly, science, I don't think, but it just made sense to me that it was a good, easy name and easy for people to remember. And then the free TMS, let's be honest, AscendTMS is, some people might remember it, but they always remember the free TMS because they would come and talk to us, and in the early days, they'd say Ascend, okay, I remember that. I said, no, don't remember Ascend. Remember the free TMS. What TMS do you want? You want the free one, right? Do you want the free TMS? And so Paul would go, yeah, I want the free TMS. Well, you just said it, the free TMS. And they would always remember. They would go home, they wouldn't remember the Ascend name, but they would remember thefreetms.com, and that's how we started. Yeah, it's a very good name.
That's a great name. And the colors are great.
Thanks, man.